Well, we already had the location thanks to the Da Vinci Disappearance DLC.
Wait, look, his vitals are stabilizing. Something's happening. He's moving.
Desmond, can you hear me? Son?
I know what we need to do.
Yeah, good, so we're already there. It's very convenient timing, actually. But, there we go, that's the end of Revelations, and honestly, I didn't expect to have such mixed feelings about this game. I hope there's not going to be off-screen dialogue that I need to shut up through, but I'm going to try and be quick. To sum up my thoughts, a lot of really clever ideas in the very early game. I really liked the stealth segments before Cappadocia, especially the first one. I've this is the video I called Splinter's Creed, and really for me this was the highlight of the game. I'm less fond on a personal level of the more spectacle heavy kind of stuff. I don't like bombastic action sequences with lots of fire. That doesn't appeal to me, so it has to have more than just visual flair and moving parts. In terms of the story and the storytelling, well, I have a personal distaste for the whole Isu plot, the whole precursor, those who came before. I've already talked about that at length, but this whole thing with the Isu being Vault-Tec from Fallout, it works. It's not bad, it's just something I don't like seeing, because I wish the tone was still one of mystery, it was still a thriller like the original game, and it didn't give away so many things. But the actual story and the whole thing with Ahmet just and Manuel Palaiologos just makes so little sense, and this is very similar to Bloodlines actually. I really hate how Ezio and Altair failed to do proper investigation work, failed to use the resources they had at hand. There's an assassin order in a position of power with countless members and the ability to operate on a level that's way above what's been possible in the previous games where they were the underdogs. But the game makes it seem like Ezio has to do everything on his own, and the only time when he actually has to use... There are two times in the game where he has to use the recruits. There's the Den Defense tutorial, and then there's the final sequence. But the main story, everything that relates to Ezio's personal quest, his acquaintance with the Ottoman Empire, his he's following after Manuel Palaiologos. Everything he does without using any of the tools at his disposal. And I feel like after Brotherhood did so much to establish that Ezio was growing old and that he needed to become the mentor and actually lead the assassin Brotherhood to just not try to do everything on his own, because it's not possible. Having a game where it just reverts back to the hero alone, it just feels stupid. And the other thing is that the entire motivation of Manuel Palaiologos is somewhat of an afterthought. I suppose he's not really a credible threat to the Ottoman Empire, and this was a subplot that became the forefront. You know, it feels like he should have been a more credible threat to Suleiman and the entire Ottoman Empire. And you know, I feel like there's a huge wasted opportunity to use the Safavids more and Shakulu and everything, because the whole thing with Selim is very likely the war that saw the Ottoman Empire obtain control over Anatolia, when I feel like the scope of the game could have expanded outside of Istanbul. And you know, putting this in perspective with having just played Brotherhood, in Brotherhood you visit some other places in Italy, thanks to the Leonardo missions. But here it really feels like there's mostly Istanbul, a little of Masyaf and a little of Cappadocia, but really nothing exists outside of specifically Istanbul and its surroundings. And considering all the interesting stuff that's been going on at this particular period in time, and the fact it was such an important harbor, you know, I'm fairly sure it's part of the Silk Road in this time. And well, you know, I was talking about the villains and their motivations. Ahmet, I keep calling things afterthoughts, but I feel like Ahmet probably received the worst of it. None of his actions made any sense whatsoever. And I suppose, again, the most interesting... We can guess and think that maybe he's been acting against Selim in the off-screen, you know. We just didn't experience this, but focusing so much on Manuel and so little on Ahmet, and I know the game was trying to be misleading on purpose, but you can't have him have so little and get it all wrong. He really reeks of an evil villain for the sake of being evil, for me. And I want to say he's probably even worse than Armand Bouchard, because, Bouchard, we actually know about his sexism. We know what he's trying to do. We know that what his plan is. Whereas Ahmet, he just wanted to gain power as the designated heir to the Ottoman Empire, and of course he's not he didn't deal well with rivalry, so it didn't work out. But what we learn of it is through the conversation with Tarik, and we just learn that he doesn't have the backbone to do the things. We learn a little when he plays chess and he wants to play things by the rules, but I've summed up the entirety of what we know of Ahmet while playing the game. There's nothing more, there's no more depth to his character than just this, and that makes it hard to appreciate him as an antagonist. And the fact he came all the way to Cappadocia, compromising his only chance, he knows Selim is after the throne as well. But leaving, not only was leaving a stupid move, the game actually acknowledged the consequences of this, and he's labelled a traitor when we come back to the thing. So he came all the way to Cappadocia to gloat, and left himself open to being killed by Selim, and that's just such a dumb move. And I do appreciate the fact that it does have consequences, but it makes it so hard to take him seriously as a villain. And well, about Selim, I have no problems with this guy as it is. He's portrayed off screen as the violent guy who doesn't want to share. It makes sense that he would kill Selim, and considering all the vile stuff Ezio has been doing, I think he's being very generous with just banishing him from Turkey. Because let's remember, Ezio openly tried to influence. Well, he talked and I don't know, plotted. Plotting seems like a bit of a big word, but he misled. We're going to say this. He misled Suleiman into thinking Tarik was a traitor, and then executed him on his orders. Ezio also incited a riot at the Arsenal gates, and all of this to stealthily observe, spy on the exchange of guns with the purchase of guns between Manuel and Tarik. He burned down the harbour and destroyed the chain, which this went so fast it's really easy to not think too much about. But We're in the early 16th century. A metal chain like this probably costs a lot to repair. So yeah, he's done a lot of horrid things. He got away with probably nuking the economy, and all he gets as a punishment is that he's banished. I think that's very generous of Selim, and the fact that Ezio reacts by almost stabbing him in the face doesn't sit well with me. That is not the same man who grew into the wise mentor in Brotherhood. Anyway, I'm starting to cough again, so I think I'm going to let the credits roll, and I'm going to end the episode here. I probably have another one to complete the Master Assassin missions, and then we'll move on eventually to Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!